in terms of the Big Ten, all things track and field, jumping, throwing, running goes. Both on the men's and women's side, we have 8 student athletes returning, point scorers, big point scorers from last year's Big Ten championships. On the women's side, we currently have 19 performances or marks that are ranked in the top 10. And on the men's side, we have 17 marks or performances that are currently in the top 10. And right there, that's huge because that's where the bulk of your points are going to come from. On the women's side, our senior leaders, Taylor Ammon, the pole vault champion from indoors, and Georgia Ellenwood, who is going for her first heptathlon title. Georgia was second in 2016. So I know that Georgia wants that title. Right now, she's currently ranked number 1 in the conference. We got some great supporting cast for Georgia and Taylor. Race Albino right now is ranked 3rd in the pole vault. Shaylin Sorensen is highly ranked in the 10,000 meters. And Ebony McClendon and her sprint squad in the 4x1, who set a school record down in Arkansas on the 4x4. So we're looking for those kids to step up. On the men's side, team leaders, Morgan McDonald, who has not run yet, obviously. He's just got back from Australia and competing at the Commonwealth Games. Ollie Hoare, who right now is ranked number 1 in the 1,500 meters, the 3K and 5K champion from indoors. Zach Snyder is ranked number 1, and Ben Eidenschink number 2 in the 10,000 meters. A lot of athletes haven't run that distance yet because obviously it takes a lot out of your body, but we expect Zach and Ben to do very well. We have a good crew, obviously, of decathletes. We always do. We're looking forward to big points from Trent Knightes, Zach Lorbach, Sawyer Smith, who was 3rd last year, and Paula Flito. Also, our pole vaulters are jumping real well right now, Rashid Koulibaly, and also Tim Guthrie. So you don't do well at this championship just with your superstars. You need a great supporting cast, and I think across the board we've got some young athletes that are ready to step into the role and score some points, and that's what we're going to need that.
All right, questions for Coach Byrne?
Do you have a reason why your pole vaulters have been so successful, both men's and women's?
You know, they've spent the whole indoor season. I think we've got a lot. They still have a lot left in the tank. I think they've struggled over the last couple of meets just being outdoors because the rhythm and just spatial effect of jumping indoors and then going outdoors, and they haven't had a lot of reps outdoors. So talking to Coach Davis this morning, obviously he's got a lot to do with it. Talking to Coach Davis this morning, we really feel that there's a lot left in both the male and female jumpers just because they're getting more and more reps outdoors. And we think they're going to be better just from those reps. This past weekend, they struggled a little bit with the wind, but the weather forecast for Big Tens in Indiana is pretty good for this weekend. So this past weekend was a good learning experience. They jumped well, and we're able to adjust to the wind. And that's something that you obviously can't replicate that indoors. So we do expect them to, Race Albino's really jumping very well. She's kind of getting her legs under her and getting more reps outdoors, and the same with Taylor. And the two guys, Rashid and Tim, also. It just takes time coming from the indoor track to the outdoor track. So we think they've got some good big jumps left in them.
The last time that Georgia competed in the heptathlon, she broke her own school record. What are you expecting out of her this weekend at Big Tens?
I know George has talked about winning the outdoor title. She doesn't have one under her belt yet. She was a little disappointed from the Brian Clay. We're trying to convince her to stop looking at the points. a win is a win. We always put more value in that. So she's qualified for Eugene. She's going to go to the national championship. So get out there this weekend and just have some fun with it. And don't just look at the pure points and go and compete. And she's a great competitor. So this could be a special weekend for Georgia. But she does want that title.
Why did Morgan train in Australia during the indoor season, and then what do you expect from him here at the Big Tens?
Well, we made a decision for him to stay down there because in order to make the Commonwealth team, he had to compete at the Australian Championships Commonwealth Trials, which were held the middle of February. It didn't make sense he went home for Christmas. He does some high altitude training down there, and it didn't make sense for him to come back here and go back 5 weeks later. So he took classes online. Morgan's an excellent student. Once he made the team, the turnaround was 5 weeks, so it didn't make sense to come back here and then turn around and go back there. Obviously, it's a 15, 16-hour flight. So yeah, that we made that decision. Went to the Commonwealth Games. First of all, had an outstanding trials, around 13-19. At the time, it was the world lead. Picked up a little bit of an injury going into the Commonwealth Games, and I know he was a little bit disappointed in that race, but once he kind of got over that injury, now it's we go full blast for the NC2A season.
Andy in the back.
Mick, Brenna's season ended rather painfully a year ago. Are you surprised at how quickly she's come back, and could you gauge how far she is back?
Yeah, obviously that was a devastating injury, and at the time it looked like it could be a career-ending injury. Brenna, just great resilience, worked real hard with our trainers, Chuck Hart and Kelly Backus. They did a great job of, in these situations, all good athletes, they kind of rush into things. They want it now, and it was a very, very slow comeback, very meticulous planning. And she's not quite back there yet. She was running 57 seconds last year. She's right around 59. Just needs more time. But all credit to Brenna for, fighting back. A lot of kids just wouldn't be able to do it. It was such a devastating injury. So she's done an incredible job. Of course, she sees herself as, Brenna Detzer that ran 57 seconds, was third in the conference last year, an NC2A qualifier. Hopefully she hasn't run out of time, but she still has this weekend and in the regional meet in hopefully Eugene. So, yeah, all credit to Brenna. She's done a fabulous job.
A.J. Harrison wrote that Ollie Hoare is a menace on the track. Is that true?
A menace. I call him a lot of things, but I don't know. Other competitors might consider him a menace. This entire year has just been an incredible, just the improvement alone, just remarkable. Every time that kid gets a baton in his hand, he runs 356, 357 mile, and we could very, very easily take that for granted. I kind of had to pinch myself 2 weeks ago down in Arkansas because we made a poor coaching decision in the 4x15, I should say, the first night, and we put a freshman and put a lot of pressure on a freshman and had him lead off, and Ollie, got the baton over 100 meters back, and we kind of shut him down a little bit, but he came out the next night and just blasted another 356 mile. It's like, when is this kid going to just, roll over and say, hey, enough's enough, I'm done? But he seems to be going week by week. He's excited about it. He's getting off on this. He's having a lot of fun with it. Maybe the year away from, he and Morgan obviously they're great buddies, first of all, but they're, both competitors, and maybe that little bit time away has given Ollie some time to grow. We'll see what happens in the fall. Yeah, it's incredible where he's at right now. Great story.